You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. I am Daniel.
And I am Clint. Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Bulldogs here on Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. No John, no third window today. Glad he was on the episode with us yesterday. Had a blast.
As soon as just when I started getting used to him, he's gone.
He got
he
gone.
Look,
he's a vagabond. He's just gone.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Glad you're here with us, though.
Yeah.
If you are on YouTube with us, how y'all doing? Glad you're here. Leave us a comment below. Hit that subscribe button, that follow button, get that ding going on when we go and the episodes come up, which is daily here on Locked On Bulldogs. If you're on the audio side, thanks for joining us. Wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Stitcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, wherever it is, leave a 5-star rating and review. That helps us out, helps other people find the pod, helps us keep doing this, which we love to do. Daniel over there is not an insider. Look, this guy, okay, the worst that we can say, the day that we look at each other and we say, you know what, you're an insider, is the day we meet high noon at the OK Corral. Like someone's going to die.
Yep, quit the pod immediately. Not what we're trying to be here. So we're fans. We're Georgia fans. We got the shirts on.
Come on.
That's what it's about. That's what the pod is about. We're here to talk like fans. And so if you say these people are clearly not college football gurus, well, that is accurate. That is what we
also,
are.
That is said of every single person on the planet. That is true of everybody.
Mm-hmm. For fans, by fans, that's what the podcast is about. If you join us on YouTube, you're just finding the pod. New people find the show every day, and happy to have you. Clint did mention, but I'll just reiterate, it is a daily show. We're putting this thing out every day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And so go ahead and subscribe, check back with us. We got stuff out every day. Go back in the catalog. Go back in the video archives. There's plenty of stuff for you to check out.
Archives. That's terrifying, by the way, to know that there are archives of you and I out there in the world. That is
Clint, there's archives. There's audio of us saying pretty much everything that could be said.
Again, I think back, I harken back to the first couple of years on the podcast are now memorialized forever, which cathartic dumping round 2, it's coming. We're going to get the band back together. But not on today's episode.
No.
Episode,
what are we talking about today, Clint?
We're talking about the SEC for 2022, and we're talking about the biggest threats to Georgia within the SEC.
You heard him. So just in case you're just now tuning in, and you are, I don't know, a fan of, which program am I going to go with? In case you're a fan of Alabama, let's say.
Oh, no.
What he said was, what teams are the biggest threats to Georgia,
to us
in the SEC, strongly implying that Georgia is the king of the mountain in the SEC. And
because we are, Daniel.
That's because just put a ring on it, and we just went ahead and sealed that thing up. So we're the favorite. That's how we believe that the 2022 season is going to go. We're looking at it that way. Georgia is the front runner. Georgia is the favorite in the SEC in our minds. Now, is that the case in your minds? You can let us know in the comments. But who are the biggest threats to Georgia? And so, Clint, how about this? We'll do kind of one threat here in this first segment. We'll get it out of the way. And then we'll do team in the second segment that's not a threat. And then we'll do another team that is a threat in the third segment. So I'm going to let you start. I've already mentioned Alabama, Clint. So I'll let you start there. I assume that you got them on your list as a team that could be one of the bigger threats to Georgia in the SEC.
Yeah, let's start. The list is very, very short. I'm going to get to my team, and longtime listeners of the pod know what team I'm going to choose come the third segment for a team that can threaten us, because I have respect for this team. And if you all don't have respect for them, get on the wagon now.
You will after you listen to the third segment. I promise you. I'm coming at you with some facts.
Ooh. But look, it's Alabama. They don't lose a lot off the roster from this year to next year, and the players they are losing, they are finding replacements for, save for one, and I'm gonna get to that in a moment. But their defensive backfield, they got Ricks coming in from LSU. They reload. They are clearly
Young fella
recruiting
named
all the
Kool-Aid,
time.
believe still playing there.
Well,
Is that accurate?
well, he still is. He shouldn't be, but he still is.
Okay.
Wasn't the best year.
No.
Look, they're reloaded a lot. They have a generational talent on the defensive line coming back. The kid Dallas Turner as well coming back. They have a lot of strength. Bryce Young is back. Wide receiver. Often maligned, often talked about for the old Crimson Tide.
Yikes. Well, what
Look,
they should have done was recruit more than 2 wide receivers on their team.
that's
I'm
funny.
not sure if Alabama was aware, but football, contact sport, sometimes people get injured. Maybe recruit more than 2 on
That's
your team
funny how
next
that
time.
happens that way, Daniel. That's weird.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think that's the biggest question. But when you got Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner, and you got Will Anderson, who's probably the best defensive player in college football, I don't know how you're not. I don't know how you're not considered one of the favorites to make it back to the college football playoff. What would Alabama have to do if Alabama goes 7-5 next year? They probably still make the college football playoff, right? Like,
100%.
I mean, what would they have to do to miss the college football playoff? I'm just saying.
I think it would have to take video evidence of Nick Saban actually doing something horrendous to some lawn ornament of a college football board member along the way. That's the type of level that would have to take place for Alabama. Just a personal direct
Are you
attack.
saying Nick Saban would have to take the lawn gnome of a voting member of the college football playoff committee, and he would have to take that lawn gnome onto a yacht? Is that what you're saying, Clint?
What I'm saying is that there would have to be a call into the Chancellor of Integrity from Ohio State.
You
That's
hate
this
to
is what I'm
see
saying.
it. I believe he's not the Chancellor of Integrity at Ohio State. He's now the Chancellor of Integrity for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just to be totally clear, that's
you
what
hate to see it. Alabama's yours. Yeah. It's ours. It's clear, guys. It's a clear front runner.
Yeah, but that's enough talking about Alabama. Listen, if you talk about them too much, then they just start to show up in the comments. So we can't do that. Let's move on to a team, or maybe multiple teams, that are definitely not threats to Georgia in the SEC. And then we'll come back to another team that legitimately is. But first, want to talk to you about Run Your Pool, Clint.
Run Your Pool. If you're not aware, March is here and March Madness is coming. Many of you are going to be calling in sick and using PTO days. Use them with discretion, y'all. Use them well. Use them with discretion. It starts early and it starts often. If you're not watching that play-in game, shame on you. That's when March Madness starts. So
that's right. That is not a call in, though. That is a schedule an afternoon meeting.
There it is.
And then leave the office about 4. And oops, I just didn't come back to the office.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. Right now, are you going to go with the usual or are you going to go with the best? We've done our homework and we're running our brackets with runyourpool.com. Along with standard brackets, Run Your Pool offers game types like Survivor or Pick X, both really fun on their own right. They have options to edit scoring and they offer more intel to make your picks. All the stuff you won't find over at ESPN or CBS. Clearly, we believe in Run Your Pool because, like we said, we're running ours over there. Our brackets ourselves. There's no truer test than that. If you want to play against us for a shot at cash prizes, join us at runyourpool.com/lockedon. While you're there, create your own pool for your friends and family. Enter Pure Madness. That's Pure Madness, all one word, at checkout for $10 off your custom pool. That's runyourpool.com/lockedon. Enter Pure Madness. We look forward to seeing and beating you there.
Threw in got a little aggressive. The ad read got a little aggressive at the end, didn't it?
Look, we went to 11.
Okay, now, I only throw in this. So this second segment, again, if you're just joining us, we're talking about teams that are a threat to Georgia in the SEC. Georgia, the favorite to win the SEC. Go back to the college football playoff. Repeat as national champion. Some are saying, I don't know. But there are many teams in the SEC that are not a threat to Georgia. Clint.
This is correct.
And some of them are, but are obvious. Vanderbilt's not a threat to Georgia in the SEC. Mississippi State's not a threat to Georgia in the SEC. There's some obvious ones, but I just want to get clear up front some things, and this is the big one for me. You may have others that you need to say publicly. Texas A&M is not a threat to Georgia in the SEC. Please don't speak to me as if they are. Do you know why, Clint? And there's a big reason why.
Wow. Why is that?
Because Georgia's not going to play Texas A&M this year, period.
At all.
Not a time. Not one of the times. Texas A&M's not going to win the West. Do you know how I know? Because they're in the West and Alabama's in the West.
And who's going to win that division?
Alabama's going to win it.
There it is.
Okay, so that's a fact. And Georgia doesn't schedule Texas A&M in the regular season. They're not going to meet them in the SEC championship game. Therefore, they're not going to meet them in the college football playoff. And so Texas A&M is going to have a fantastic 11-2 season. They are going to blow some teams out.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to whine about how they should have been in the college football playoff as an at-large.
For days.
Texas A&M boosters are going to immediately begin lobbying to expand the playoff to 8 teams. But Georgia's not playing Texas A&M this year, period.
By the way, that's if the boosters are going to be off of the legal campaign trail by then, Daniel, after trying to keep Jimbo.
You're right. Their funds
trouble.
might be tied up elsewhere. Those retainers are not cheap. I'm not talking about the kind you put in your mouth.
No,
you've got to pay those lawyers. Okay?
No, hourly rates tend to ask Sarah. She knows just billable hours.
Justin be tweeting about it regularly.
he really
Justin,
is.
how you doing? We need to have Justin back on the pod.
Oh my gosh! You know what, Justin? Reach out to us, brother. You need to get back up on here. I'm going to reach out to you on Twitter as well. Look, Jimbo news coming out that a 5-star recruit is now a second-time offender for allegedly striking his girlfriend. Another woman tried to do so, tell Jimbo, and nobody answered the phone multiple times.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. I've heard this story before.
If this is shocking news, raise your hands.
It involved a roommate, and a kid wanted to transfer out of there, said he didn't want to be a part of this type of program.
Mm-hmm.
Some clown just swept it under the rug, didn't want anything to do with it. What's he up to these days, that old Dan Mullen? What's he doing? Busy?
I don't know. No, he's not busy.
No,
he has the
busy.
time of his life getting a tan and on keto, I hear, because that's how much he hates his life.
T's and P's. Speaking of, Florida not a threat to Georgia in the SEC.
Florida not a threat. Texas A&M. Look, if you're making a list of teams that can make the college football playoff and you in the same breath say Alabama and Texas A&M, I immediately stop listening to you.
You're done.
I cannot listen to you because one of those teams will be in the SEC championship game. One will not. One will either lose that game or win that game, and that will get them into the playoff. Or if you're out of the SEC championship game, you have at least one loss on your record, and you're not getting in to a one-loss SEC runner-up that already beat you in the regular season.
Right.
Stop talking to me if you have both of them on a list. You can't. Logic wins.
I just don't. There's not a scenario. There could be scenarios, but Georgia and Alabama, we both expect to be undefeated going into the SEC championship game. And if Georgia and Alabama are undefeated, one loss Texas A&M doesn't have a prayer. They're out. They're not putting a third SEC team in. So
no,
anyway, Texas A&M,
Florida's not a
threat.
Missouri, not a threat.
Not a threat.
Florida
Tennessee,
is
not a threat.
Not a threat. They're not a threat. They will make some noise.
Now,
they will bang some pots around.
Are they a threat to give Georgia a game and even possibly upset Georgia? Don't
Yes.
mistake what we're saying. We're not
Yes.
saying that these teams can't beat Georgia. We're saying that these teams can't win the SEC from Georgia. If Tennessee beats Georgia, they might hamper their chances to make the college football playoff, but they're not winning the East. They're not taking Georgia's spot in the SEC championship game. So that's what we mean when we say not a threat. Let's talk about one other team that is a threat, though, Clint. And I believe we're on the same page here. But
We're
first,
unanimous.
want to tell the people about BetOnline.net. BetOnline is your online sportsbook expert. They're the place to go to place all of your wagers. Listen, it's the NBA season is coming down the stretch. It's in full swing. The NHL season, if that's your sport. Golf is ramping up. The Players' Championship is this month. The Masters is next month. Do you hear the words that I'm saying? These are significant events in your life. And March Madness, the single greatest betting tournament of all time, is coming up in just over a week and a half. So get on over to betonline.net. Put in the promo code Locked On. You'll get a bonus on your deposit. They'll give you free money. You make that initial deposit. You prepare yourself mentally and physically, and then you begin to place wagers. Bet on a Sweet 16 team. Bet on a Final Four run. Bet on individual games, props, over/under spreads, parlays. Whatever you want, as soon as that bracket is released, betonline.net is your place. Get over there now and prepare yourself. Locked On is the promo code. betonline.net is the website. They are the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast and the only one Clint and I trust. And so should you. betonline.net.
The team that is favorites to mount a significant challenge to Georgia, not just beat them, but take the division and then take the SEC from them. This is what we're talking about. Tennessee, offensively, they have some firepower. And
They do.
They can put up some points. This is true. Defensively, I don't trust them at all. And as a whole team with decisions and to keep a lead and to have sustained success, I don't trust them all. But there is a coach that I have all the respect for in the world.
That's
Kentucky is coming off 2 10-win seasons, Daniel.
I'm sorry.
Kentucky, not
Yes.
Basketball.
No, we're talking about football.
We're talking
Kentucky's
about
going to
football.
win. Kentucky's going to win the NCAA tournament, by the way. Just
okay. There it is.
Kentucky's going to win.
I got him, guys.
The NCAA tournament.
I'm just saying
say
basketball
now,
enough times.
When the bracket comes out, you might not be able to get the best line. I'm just saying keep an eye on the numbers because whenever you can get a favorable number, maybe right out if they lose the game in the SEC tournament, which they very well could, maybe you get a favorable number right after that. Kentucky's winning the NCAA tournament. So there it is. All right, but Kentucky football is what we're talking about now.
What if I was to tell you that Kentucky football coming off sustained success in the SEC with a head coach, Stoops, that knows what he is doing and is doing it very well? What if I was to tell you key contributors are coming back for them at skill positions, at quarterback? I know Will Levis likes to throw the football and huck it around like Brett Favre, and he don't care a dang thing about interception as a statistic. I understand that. But the kid...
it's another year in the system, Clint. He's going to improve. Right. He's going to continue continuity with the offensive coordinator. And that's not even the biggest offensive weapon that's coming back for them. The fact that Chris Rodriguez is coming back for Kentucky should, one, confuse you. You should be
blows my mind
by this.
What is happening? What NIL deal does he have that guarantees him millions like he would have made in the NFL?
Number two, it should scare the bejeebers out of you if you're a Georgia fan because Chris Rodriguez is very good. And when Kentucky's able to run the ball, which, listen, you know that they're going to want to do under Stoops. You know that offensive line is going to be playing well under Stoops. When Kentucky's able to run the ball, tough, physical, yards on the ground, that is going to do nothing but open things up for Will Levis. What was Georgia incredibly not good at, but otherworldly at this past season, stopping the run. That set up everything that we did on the defensive side of the ball, was stopping the run. If we get into a matchup against Kentucky this year, and and the run game is a bit more of a problem for us, Will Levis all of a sudden looks like a different quarterback.
Ooh, he does. I completely agree. So again, when you look at successful teams, here's what they do. The head coach who knows what he is doing and develop players. That Stoops does that really well at Kentucky. Physical play. And this is the reason why Kentucky year in, year out scares me. Every single time it comes on the schedule. Every single time I see it circled. And this year, November 19th is coming around. We go to Kroger Field. Okay? November 19th.
You want to go? Why don't you? Let's go. I've been to a couple games at Kroger Field. It's a heck of a place to go see a game.
Look, I ain't going to say no. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Lockdown Bulldogs podcast will be there. We'll be
here. We go.
Settle up.
Here's why they scare me. Their defense. Y'all, Chris Rodriguez, Will Levis, offensive line is always good up there. They are tough in the trenches. They're trying to be us. If you guys don't see, they're trying to be Georgia. Stoops has this, but their defense, every single year, we get in a game with them when it's 1916, and there's no business to be 1916. And it confuses me, and it makes me scared because it's an interception, it's a muff pump, it's a field goal, it's a pouring down rain situation, and their defense are scrappy, disciplined, eye discipline, hand discipline, all across the board. They're a program I have all the respect for, and you could give me the field over the next 5 years. Right, Daniel, if you were to say pick anybody in the SEC for the next 5 years to take on Georgia, you can have Florida, Tennessee, in 5 years. Give me Kentucky each one of the next 5 years because I think there's something special there. Specifically this year, they have a lot of ingredients back. They're the biggest threat, the second biggest threat.
It's not just you that thinks there's something special there, Clint. And this is not just you professing your deep, abiding love for Mark Stoops on the podcast, though you're not above it.
No, I'm not.
It's just the reason you feel that way is maybe because Kentucky has better players than all those other teams that you just mentioned.
Yep.
How about 2022 recruiting rankings? Kentucky has the 13th best recruiting class in the country. Yo.
No, Daniel, you didn't mean
Kentucky.
That. You didn't mean 13th
Kentucky
in the nation.
Football.
Okay.
They have the 13th best recruiting class in the country. That's ahead of Florida, Tennessee, and Auburn. Do you understand what we're saying? We're saying that Georgia's three biggest rivals in the conference aren't recruiting as well as Kentucky is. So if you're not circling the game, if you're not taking that team seriously, then you're just not paying attention in college football. So give Kentucky a little bit of respect. They are the biggest threat to Georgia in the SEC. And an even bigger threat to Georgia in the SEC, honestly, than Alabama is because they have the opportunity to do something in the regular season that Alabama doesn't have the opportunity to do. And so the single biggest threat to Georgia, and if Georgia loses that game at Kroger Field to Kentucky, and Kentucky needs to lose 2 conference games, Georgia is in a position where they're sweating. We are now sweating.
Kentucky goes to Tennessee
to get those 2 losses. Yeah.
Okay. So that's sure. They go to Missouri. Missouri's not a threat at all. But the rest of them, home, they go to Florida, which Florida's a joke this year. They go to Ole Miss, whatever, another joke. Mississippi State at home. They go to Tennessee, Missouri on the road, Vanderbilt at home, us at home. I don't see 2 losses in that, Daniel.
So
I don't see it.
That's a 1-game season for the SEC East. Is what we're saying there. So start sweating now, Georgia fans. It's a big game in Lexington. So Kroger Field, Kentucky's the biggest threat to Georgia.
Here we come.
We'll be there. We'll be out there. If it's pouring down rain, I'm not going. Just so we're clear. I'm not
hold on. Let me get the robes and the candle. I'm going to predict that if it's going to be or so.
Well, you predicted it earlier that it would be pouring down rain. And 19 to 16. It'd be 19-16 pouring down rain. So.
This sounds great. Hey, this is Locked On Bulldogs channel, Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We'll be back tomorrow where we will chronicle who the biggest threat to Georgia is nationally. Not
outside the SEC.
Outside the SEC.
You love to see it.
Come back that. He's Daniel. I'm Clint. Locked On Bulldogs. Your team every day. We'll see you guys then.
See ya.